Hello, my dear listeners, and welcome to another episode of our whispered journey through history. Today, we embark on an exploration of the Age of Enlightenment, a period that transformed our understanding of the world and laid the intellectual foundations for the modern era. The Age of Enlightenment, also known as the Age of Reason, spanned from the late 17th century to the early 19th century. It was a time when reason, science, and the power of human thought were championed over tradition, superstition, and religious dogma. The Enlightenment thinkers, or philosophes, believed that through reason and scientific inquiry, humanity could progress and improve society. This intellectual awakening didn't happen overnight. Its roots can be traced back to the scientific revolution of the 16th and 17th centuries, where figures like Galileo Galilei, Johannes Kepler, and Isaac Newton challenged the traditional views of the cosmos and laid the groundwork for a new way of thinking. The Enlightenment built upon these scientific advances and applied them to other areas of human endeavor, including politics, economics, and social issues. The Enlightenment was characterized by a belief in the power of human reason to understand and shape the world. This period saw the rise of critical thinking and skepticism towards authority. Enlightenment thinkers questioned the divine right of kings, the structure of society, and the role of the church. They believed in the possibility of progress and that education and knowledge could lead to a better, more just society. One of the central ideas of the Enlightenment was the concept of natural rights. Thinkers like John Locke argued that all individuals are born with certain inalienable rights, such as life, liberty, and property. These ideas challenged the established social and political order and laid the groundwork for modern democracy. Locke's writings, particularly his two treatises of government, were hugely influential and advocated for the separation of powers, a concept that would later be vital to the formation of democratic governments. The Enlightenment also saw the rise of the public sphere, where individuals could come together to discuss ideas and debate issues. Salons, coffeehouses, and academic societies became centers of intellectual exchange. In these venues, ideas flowed freely, crossing national borders and influencing people across Europe and the Americas. This was a time when the written word held immense power, and books, pamphlets, and essays became the vehicles for spreading new ideas. One of the most influential works of the Enlightenment was the Encyclopedia, edited by Denis Diderot and Jean-Laurent d'Alembert. This massive compilation aimed to gather and disseminate knowledge on a wide range of subjects, from science and technology to philosophy and politics. The encyclopedia not only provided information but also promoted the values of the Enlightenment, encouraging critical thinking and challenging established norms. Voltaire, one of the most famous philosophers, used his wit and literary talent to criticize intolerance, superstition, and religious dogma. Through his plays, essays, and novels, Voltaire advocated for freedom of speech, religious tolerance, and the separation of church and state. His sharp critique of the French monarchy and the Catholic Church made him a controversial figure, but his ideas resonated with many who sought reform. In addition to political and social thought, the Enlightenment also brought significant advances in science and mathematics. Figures like Isaac Newton continued to build on earlier discoveries, developing theories that would become the bedrock of modern physics. Newton's Principia Mathematica, published in 1687, formulated the laws of motion and universal gravitation, demonstrating the power of scientific inquiry to unlock the mysteries of the universe. The Enlightenment wasn't confined to Europe. Its ideas spread across the Atlantic to the American colonies, where they profoundly influenced the leaders of the American Revolution. The Declaration of Independence, penned by Thomas Jefferson, is a testament to Enlightenment ideals, asserting the natural rights of individuals and the need for government by consent of the governed. As we delve deeper into the Age of Enlightenment, we'll explore the contributions of key figures, the major works they produced, and the lasting impact of their ideas on our world. This intellectual awakening reshaped our understanding of government, society, and the individual, setting the stage for the modern age. So, my dear listeners, we've set the stage for this incredible journey. Stay with us as we delve deeper into the lives and contributions of the remarkable individuals who made this intellectual revolution possible and the enduring consequences of their actions. As we continue our journey through the Age of Enlightenment, it becomes clear that this period was not just about abstract ideas, but also about practical applications and tangible changes in society. The Enlightenment thinkers sought to use reason and knowledge to improve the human condition, and their efforts led to significant advancements in various fields, including science, philosophy, politics, and economics. One of the central figures of the Enlightenment was John Locke, often referred to as the father of liberalism. Locke's philosophy centered on the concept of natural rights, which he articulated in his influential works, particularly the two treatises of government. Locke argued that all individuals are born with certain inalienable rights, including life, liberty, and property. He believed that the primary role of government is to protect these rights, and that any government that fails to do so loses its legitimacy and can be justly overthrown. Locke's ideas on the social contract, where the authority of the government is derived from the consent of the governed, had a profound impact on the development of modern political thought. His emphasis on individual rights and the importance of a representative government laid the groundwork for the democratic revolutions that would sweep across Europe and the Americas in the centuries to come. Locke's influence extended to the American founding fathers, who drew heavily on his writings when drafting the Declaration of Independence and the United States Constitution. Another towering figure of the Enlightenment was Montesquieu, a French political philosopher best known for his theory of the separation of powers. In his seminal work, The Spirit of the Laws, Montesquieu proposed that the best way to prevent tyranny and protect individual liberty was to divide government power among different branches. He argued for a system of checks and balances where the executive, legislative, and judicial branches of government would each have distinct powers and responsibilities, ensuring that no single entity could dominate the others. Montesquieu's ideas were revolutionary and had a significant influence on the development of modern political systems, particularly in the United States. The framers of the U.S. Constitution adopted his principles of separation of powers and checks and balances, creating a system of government that aimed to safeguard freedom and prevent the abuse of power. Montesquieu's impact on political thought cannot be overstated, as his theories continue to shape the structures of democratic governments around the world. Voltaire, another prominent Enlightenment thinker, used his sharp wit and literary talent to challenge the status quo and advocate for social reform. Voltaire was a fierce critic of religious intolerance, superstition, and the abuses of the Catholic Church. He He championed the cause of freedom of speech and freedom of religion, believing that individuals should have the right to express their ideas and beliefs without fear of persecution. Through his essays, letters, and satirical works, Voltaire exposed the hypocrisies and injustices of his time. His novel Candide, a biting satire on optimism and the folly of blind faith, remains one of his most famous works. Voltaire's relentless advocacy for civil liberties and his critique of authoritarianism resonated with many, making him a leading voice of the Enlightenment and a symbol of the fight for individual rights and freedoms. Jean-Jacques Rousseau, a contemporary of Voltaire, offered a different perspective on human nature and society. In his influential work, The Social Contract, Rousseau argued that in order to achieve true freedom, individuals must enter into a social contract where they agree to be governed by the general will of the community. Rousseau believed that legitimate political authority comes from the collective agreement of the people, and that sovereignty should reside with the populace rather than a monarch or elite ruling class. Rousseau's ideas on education, expressed in his book Émile, or on education, also had a significant impact. He advocated for an educational system that nurtures the natural development of children, emphasizing hands-on learning and the importance of developing moral and civic virtues. Rousseau's philosophy influenced the progressive education movement and continues to shape educational theories and practices today. The Enlightenment was not limited to political and social thought. It also brought about significant advancements in science and philosophy. Immanuel Kant, a German philosopher, is often regarded as one of the most important figures in modern philosophy. Kant's work Critique of Pure Reason sought to reconcile rationalism and empiricism, exploring the limits of human knowledge and the relationship between experience and understanding. Kant introduced the concept of the categorical imperative, a fundamental principle of moral philosophy that asserts that one should act only according to that maxim which one can will to become a universal law. This idea forms the basis of deontological ethics, emphasizing the importance of duty and the intrinsic value of moral actions. Kant's emphasis on reason, autonomy, and moral responsibility has had a lasting influence on ethical theory and continues to shape contemporary debates in philosophy. In addition to these towering figures, the Enlightenment saw contributions from numerous other thinkers who advanced the cause of reason and progress. Denis Diderot, for instance, was instrumental in the creation of the Encyclopédie, a monumental work that sought to compile and disseminate knowledge across a wide range of subjects. The Encyclopédie was not just a reference work, but also a manifesto for Enlightenment values, promoting critical thinking and challenging established doctrines. Adam Smith, the Scottish economist and philosopher, laid the foundations for modern economics with his seminal work The Wealth of Nations. Smith's ideas on the division of labor, free markets, and the invisible hand of competition revolutionized economic thought and provided the theoretical underpinnings for capitalism. His emphasis on economic freedom and the benefits of self-interest in promoting societal well-being resonated with the Enlightenment's broader themes of individual liberty and progress. The Enlightenment was a truly global phenomenon, with ideas and innovations spreading far beyond Europe. In the American colonies, Enlightenment principles fueled the desire for independence and the creation of a new political order based on democratic ideals. The American Revolution and the subsequent drafting of the U.S. Constitution were deeply influenced by Enlightenment thought, reflecting the values of liberty, equality, and justice. The Enlightenment also had a profound impact on the French Revolution, which sought to overthrow the old order and establish a society based on Enlightenment principles. The revolutionaries drew inspiration from thinkers like Rousseau and Voltaire, advocating for the rights of man and the establishment of a republic. While the French Revolution ultimately descended into chaos and violence, its ideals of liberty, fraternity, and equality left a lasting legacy and continued to inspire movements for social and political reform around the world. As we reflect on the Age of Enlightenment, it is evident that this period was marked by a profound belief in the power of human reason to transform society. The Enlightenment thinkers challenged traditional authority, championed the rights of the individual, and laid the intellectual foundations for the modern world. Their ideas on democracy, freedom, and equality continue to resonate today, reminding us of the enduring quest for progress and the betterment of the human condition. Stay with us as we delve deeper into the lives and contributions of these remarkable individuals and explore how their ideas shape the course of history and continue to influence our world today. As we delve further into the Age of Enlightenment, it is essential to recognize the diversity of thought and the wide array of disciplines that were influenced by this intellectual movement. The Enlightenment was not monolithic. It was characterized by a rich tapestry of ideas, debates, and innovations that spanned across philosophy, science, economics, and the arts. One of the most influential figures in the field of economics during the Enlightenment was Adam Smith. Born in 1723 in Scotland, Smith is often referred to as the father of economics. His seminal work, The Wealth of Nations, published in 1776, laid the groundwork for modern economic theory. Smith introduced the concept of the invisible hand, which posits that individuals pursuing their own self-interest inadvertently contribute to the overall good of society. He argued that free markets, guided by competition and free from government intervention, lead to efficient allocation of resources and economic prosperity. Smith's ideas were revolutionary and provided a powerful critique of mercantilism, the dominant economic theory of the time, which emphasized government control and accumulation of wealth through trade. Instead, Smith advocated for economic freedom and the benefits of a self-regulating market. His work influenced economic policy and thought, shaping the development of capitalism and laying the foundation for the field of economics. In addition to economics, the Enlightenment also brought about significant advancements in the natural sciences. The scientific revolution that preceded the Enlightenment set the stage for a more systematic and empirical approach to understanding the natural world. Figures like Isaac Newton, who built on the work of earlier scientists, made groundbreaking discoveries that transformed our understanding of the universe. Newton's Principia Mathematica, published in 1687, formulated the laws of motion and universal gravitation, providing a unified framework for understanding the physical world. His work demonstrated the power of mathematical reasoning and empirical observation in uncovering the laws of nature. Newton's influence extended far beyond physics, inspiring generations of scientists to pursue knowledge through experimentation and reason. Another key figure in the Enlightenment was Carl Linnaeus, a Swedish botanist and physician who laid the foundations for modern taxonomy. Linnaeus developed a system for classifying and naming living organisms, which he published in his work Systema Naturae. His binomial nomenclature, which assigns a two-part scientific name to each species, revolutionized the field of biology and provided a standardized method for identifying and categorizing the diversity of life. Linnaeus's work exemplified the Enlightenment's emphasis on order, classification, and the pursuit of knowledge. By creating a systematic framework for understanding the natural world, Linnaeus contributed to the broader project of the Enlightenment, which sought to bring clarity and rationality to all areas of human inquiry. In the realm of political thought, the Enlightenment produced a wealth of ideas that challenged existing power structures and advocated for individual rights and freedoms. One of the most influential political philosophers of the time was Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Rousseau's work, The Social Contract, published in 1762, argued that legitimate political authority arises from the collective agreement of the people. He believed that individuals enter into a social contract with one another, agreeing to be governed by the general will, which represents the common interests of the community. Rousseau's ideas were radical and challenged the traditional notions of monarchy and aristocracy. He advocated for direct democracy and the idea that sovereignty resides with the people. Rousseau's emphasis on equality and the collective good resonated with many, influencing revolutionary movements in France and beyond. In addition to his political philosophy, Rousseau also made significant contributions to education. In his work Emile, or On Education, Rousseau outlined his vision for a natural education that fosters the innate goodness and curiosity of children. He argued that education should be individualized and focus on the development of moral and civic virtues. Rousseau's ideas on education were revolutionary and laid the groundwork for progressive educational practices that continue to influence pedagogy today. The Enlightenment also had a profound impact on the arts and literature. The period saw a flourishing of creativity and expression, with artists and writers exploring new forms and themes. The Enlightenment's emphasis on reason, nature, and humanity found expression in the works of artists like Jacques-Louis David, whose neoclassical paintings captured the ideals of the age. David's works, such as The Death of Socrates and Oath of the Horatii, celebrated the virtues of courage, sacrifice, and civic duty. In literature, the Enlightenment gave rise to new genres and styles. The novel, as a literary form, gained prominence during this period, with authors like Daniel Defoe, Samuel Richardson, and Henry Fielding exploring themes of individualism, morality, and social critique. The rise of the novel provided a platform for exploring the complexities of human experience and the changing social landscape of the time. One of the most influential literary figures of the Enlightenment was Voltaire. Known for his wit, satire, and criticism of religious and political institutions, Voltaire used his writing to advocate for civil liberties and social reform. His novel Candide, a satirical critique of optimism and blind faith, remains one of his most famous works. Voltaire's fearless critique of authority and his defense of freedom of thought and expression made him a central figure in the intellectual landscape of the Enlightenment. The Enlightenment also saw the rise of the public intellectual, individuals who engaged with the public through writing, lectures, and debates. These intellectuals played a crucial role in spreading Enlightenment ideas and fostering a culture of critical inquiry and debate. Salons, coffeehouses, and academic societies became centers of intellectual exchange, where ideas flowed freely and were discussed and debated by people from diverse backgrounds. One such intellectual was Immanuel Kant, a German philosopher whose work had a profound impact on modern thought. Kant's Critique of Pure Reason, published in 1781, sought to address the limitations of human knowledge and the relationship between experience and understanding. Kant argued that while our knowledge is limited by our sensory experience, we can still achieve a priori knowledge through reason. Kant's philosophy emphasized the importance of autonomy and the moral law. His concept of the categorical imperative, which asserts that one should act only according to that maxim which one can will to become a universal law, laid the foundation for deontological ethics. Kant's emphasis on reason, morality, and individual autonomy continues to influence contemporary philosophy and ethical theory. As we reflect on the Age of Enlightenment, it is clear that this period was characterized by a profound belief in the power of human reason to transform society. The Enlightenment thinkers challenged traditional authority, championed the rights of the individual, and laid the intellectual foundations for the modern world. Their ideas on democracy, freedom, and equality continue to resonate today, reminding us of the enduring quest for progress and the betterment of the human condition. Stay with us as we delve deeper into the lives and contributions of these remarkable individuals and explore how their ideas shape the course of history and continue to influence our world today. As we continue our exploration of the Age of Enlightenment, it is essential to consider the broader cultural and societal impacts of this transformative period. The Enlightenment was not only an intellectual revolution but also a cultural movement that influenced every aspect of life, from politics and science to art and education. One of the most profound impacts of the Enlightenment was the emphasis on education and the dissemination of knowledge. Enlightenment thinkers believed that education was the key to human progress and that an informed and educated populace was essential for the development of a just and equitable society. This belief led to significant advancements in educational theory and practice, as well as the establishment of new institutions dedicated to learning. Denis Diderot's Encyclopedia is a prime example of the Enlightenment's commitment to education and knowledge dissemination. This monumental work aimed to compile all human knowledge into a single, accessible reference. It included articles on a wide range of subjects, from science and technology to philosophy and the arts. The encyclopedia was a collaborative effort, with contributions from many of the leading intellectuals of the time. It became a symbol of the Enlightenment's belief in the power of knowledge to improve society and challenge established norms. In addition to the encyclopedia, the Enlightenment saw the rise of academic societies and institutions dedicated to the pursuit of knowledge. The Royal Society in England, founded in 1660, and the French Academy of Sciences, established in 1666, were among the most prominent. These institutions provided a forum for the exchange of ideas and facilitated scientific collaboration and experimentation. They played a crucial role in advancing scientific knowledge and promoting the values of the Enlightenment. The Enlightenment also had a significant impact on the development of modern political systems. The ideas of Enlightenment thinkers like John Locke, Montesquieu, and Rousseau laid the foundation for modern democracy and the rule of law. Their emphasis on individual rights, the separation of powers, and the social contract influenced the drafting of constitutions and the establishment of democratic governments around the world. In the United States, the influence of Enlightenment thought is evident in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. Thomas Jefferson, one of the key figures in the American Revolution, was deeply influenced by the ideas of John Locke and other Enlightenment philosophers. The Declaration of Independence asserts the natural rights of individuals and the principle of government by consent, reflecting the core values of the Enlightenment. The Enlightenment also played a crucial role in the French Revolution, which sought to overthrow the old order and establish a society based on Enlightenment principles. The revolutionaries were inspired by the ideas of liberty, equality, and fraternity, and sought to create a republic that reflected these values. While the French Revolution ultimately descended into violence and chaos, its ideals left a lasting legacy and continued to inspire movements for social and political reform around the world. The Enlightenment's emphasis on reason and scientific inquiry also led to significant advancements in medicine and public health. The period saw the development of new medical practices and the establishment of hospitals and medical schools. Figures like Edward Jenner, who developed the smallpox vaccine, made groundbreaking contributions to public health, reducing the incidence of deadly diseases and improving the quality of life for many. In addition to these tangible advancements, the Enlightenment also brought about a shift in cultural attitudes and values. The period saw a growing emphasis on individualism, secularism, and humanism. Enlightenment thinkers challenged traditional religious beliefs and sought to understand the world through reason and empirical observation. This shift in values contributed to the rise of secularism and the decline of the authority of the Church in many aspects of life. The Enlightenment also had a profound impact on the arts and literature. The period saw the rise of neoclassicism, an artistic movement that drew inspiration from the classical art and culture of ancient Greece and Rome. Neoclassical artists and architects sought to revive the ideals of simplicity, harmony, and proportion, creating works that reflected the values of the Enlightenment. One of the most prominent neoclassical artists was Jacques-Louis David, whose paintings captured the ideals of the age. David's works, such as The Death of Socrates and The Oath of the Horatii, celebrated the virtues of courage, sacrifice, and civic duty. His art became a powerful tool for political expression and propaganda during the French Revolution. In literature, the Enlightenment gave rise to new genres and styles. The novel became a popular form of literary expression, with authors exploring themes of individualism, morality, and social critique. Writers like Daniel Defoe, Samuel Richardson, and Henry Fielding used the novel to explore the complexities of human experience and the changing social landscape of the time. Voltaire's satirical works, such as Candide, used humor and wit to critique the established order and advocate for social reform. His fearless critique of authority and his defense of freedom of thought and expression made him a central figure in the intellectual landscape of the Enlightenment. The Enlightenment also saw the rise of the public intellectual, individuals who engaged with the public through writing, lectures, and debates. These intellectuals played a crucial role in spreading Enlightenment ideas and fostering a culture of critical inquiry and debate. Salons, coffeehouses, and academic societies became centers of intellectual exchange, where ideas flowed freely and were discussed and debated by people from diverse backgrounds. As we reflect on the Age of Enlightenment, it is clear that this period was marked by a profound belief in the power of human reason to transform society. The Enlightenment thinkers challenged traditional authority, championed the rights of the individual, and laid the intellectual foundations for the modern world. Their ideas on democracy, freedom, and equality continue to resonate today, reminding us of the enduring quest for progress and the betterment of the human condition. The legacy of the Enlightenment is evident in the institutions and values that shape our modern world. The principles of reason, critical inquiry, and individual rights that were championed by the Enlightenment thinkers continue to guide our pursuit of knowledge and our efforts to create a just and equitable society. The Age of Enlightenment. Key figures. John Locke. John Locke, born in 1632, is often referred to as the father of liberalism. His works, particularly two treatises of government, emphasized natural rights and the social contract, laying the groundwork for modern democracy. Locke's ideas on life, liberty, and property influenced the American and French revolutions and continue to underpin contemporary political thought. Montesquieu. Charles Louis II, Baron de Montesquieu, born in 1689, was a French political philosopher best known for his theory of the separation of powers. His seminal work, The Spirit of the Laws, argued that political power should be divided among different branches of government to prevent tyranny. Montesquieu's ideas were instrumental in the drafting of the U.S. Constitution and have influenced democratic systems worldwide. Voltaire. François-Marie Arouet, known by his pen name Voltaire, was born in 1694. A prolific writer, philosopher, and outspoken critic of the Catholic Church and French monarchy, Voltaire championed civil liberties, freedom of speech, and religious tolerance. His satirical works, such as Candide, highlighted the injustices and absurdities of his time, making him a central figure in the Enlightenment. Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Jean-Jacques Rousseau, born in 1712, was a Jean-Van philosopher whose ideas on education, government, and society had a profound impact on the Enlightenment. His work, The Social Contract, argued that political authority comes from a social contract agreed upon by all citizens for their mutual benefit. Rousseau's ideas on direct democracy and the general will influence the French Revolution and modern political theory. Immanuel Kant. Immanuel Kant, born in 1724, was a German philosopher who is considered one of the central figures in modern philosophy. His work Critique of Pure Reason sought to explain the relationship between human experience and knowledge. Kant's moral philosophy, particularly the concept of the categorical imperative, emphasized the importance of reason, autonomy, and ethical duty, shaping contemporary ethical theory. Adam Smith. Adam Smith, born in 1723 in Scotland, is known as the father of economics. His seminal work, The Wealth of Nations, laid the foundations for classical economics. Smith introduced concepts such as the division of labor, free markets, and the invisible hand, arguing that individuals' pursuit of self-interest leads to societal benefits. His ideas continue to influence economic thought and policy. Denis Diderot. Denis Diderot, born in 1713, was a French philosopher, art critic, and writer, best known as the co-founder, chief editor, and contributor to the Encyclopedia. This monumental work aimed to gather and disseminate the knowledge of the time, promoting Enlightenment values such as reason, secularism, and scientific inquiry. Diderot's contributions were crucial in spreading Enlightenment ideas throughout Europe. David Hume. David Hume, born in 1711, was a Scottish philosopher, historian, and economist known for his empirical approach to philosophy. Hume's works, including a treatise of human nature, explored human psychology, knowledge, and ethics. His skepticism about religion and emphasis on human experience and reason were influential in the development of modern philosophy and the scientific method. Mary Wollstonecraft. Mary Wollstonecraft, born in 1759, was an English writer, philosopher, and advocate for women's rights. Her seminal work, A Vindication of the Rights of Woman, argued for the equality of the sexes and the importance of education for women. Wollstonecraft's ideas laid the groundwork for the feminist movement and continue to inspire advocates for gender equality. Baruch Spinoza. Baruch Spinoza, born in 1632 in Amsterdam, was a Dutch philosopher who laid the groundwork for the Enlightenment and modern biblical criticism. His work Ethics presented an integrated philosophical system that combined rationalism with a deterministic understanding of the universe. Spinoza's emphasis on reason and ethics made him a pivotal figure in Enlightenment thought. Thomas Paine. Thomas Paine, born in 1737 in England, was a political activist, philosopher, and revolutionary. His pamphlet Common Sense was a crucial influence on the American Revolution, advocating for independence from Britain and the establishment of a democratic republic. Paine's writings, including The Rights of Man, championed individual liberties and social equality. Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin, born in 1706 in Boston, was an American polymath who made significant contributions to the Enlightenment. As a scientist, inventor, diplomat, and writer, Franklin embodied Enlightenment ideals. He conducted groundbreaking experiments with electricity, invented the lightning rod, and played a crucial role in the American Revolution and the founding of the United States. Cesare Beccaria. Cesare Beccaria, born in 1738 in Milan, was an Italian criminologist, jurist, and philosopher. His work on crimes and punishments condemned torture and the death penalty and argued for criminal justice reform based on Enlightenment principles of reason and humanity. Beccaria's ideas influenced legal systems and penal reforms across Europe and America. Marquis de Condorcet. Marie-Jean-Antoine Nicolas de Caratat, Marquis de Condorcet, born in 1743 in France, was a philosopher, mathematician, and early political scientist. Condorcet championed educational reform, women's rights, and the abolition of slavery. His work sketched for a historical picture of the progress of the human mind articulated a vision of human progress driven by reason and scientific knowledge.